Today's video is brought to you by the Modern Gun School. This is an accredited online university. Whether you're looking to learn a few things or trying to break into a career in the firearms industry, this place is set up to be streamlined and work for you so that you don't have to burn a large quantity of money to get an education in the firearms arts. And that gives you some latitude to pursue other educational pursuits like, a business degree on top of your firearms education. So go check them out at Modern Gun School and tell them that I sent you. Let's get into today's video. You know, over the course of the last year, I've been pretty critical of the Trump administration. I was pretty critical of the first administration and their lack of poise on Second Amendment issues, and recently their outright defense of the worst gun control that's ever been passed in this country in court. You know, there's a lot of things that we can gripe about, but this past week was Thanksgiving, and one of the things that I'm very thankful for is TDS. What this syndrome does to even the marginally impacted is completely destroy their self-awareness. And what we have here today is an instance of Ilhan Omar, yeah, that one's going to get edited. Straight up telling us what we've all known, the ulterior motive of gun control is in this country. The forces that hate the Second Amendment seek to destroy it, and they want you disarmed. They want control of you. It's not about the guns. It's about control. It always has been, and this is what she had to say.
So one of the things that's going to be important is to create a registry. So we know where the guns are. We can know when they go into the wrong hands, when they're stolen. And we can actually start a buyback program. I know that some of the Minnesota legislators have had that legislation, and that's something that we should be thinking about on a federal level.
We must have a registry on the federal level. I mean, I don't need to explain this to most of you, but there will be a few of you that will need this spelled out. I mean, I suppose the best place to start is with what would a federal gun registry look like in the United States? Well, that's really easy because we already have one under the National Firearms Act. So short barrel rifles, short barrel shotguns, AOWs, machine guns, destructive devices, on down the line, right? So we already have a national gun registry on those devices. What does it do? Well, it imposes exorbitant taxes that are then used to implement a intrusive, outdated, ridiculous background check process that creates loads of red tape, including the submission of your fingerprints, your headshot, you know, your picture, a whole bunch of legalese forms, a notification to your chief law enforcement officer. If you want to move your property, you have to submit a notification to the ATF in the form of a Form 20 that outlines where you're taking it, what you're doing with it, all that sort of stuff. So let's say that you want to take a class or something like that in a different state. Like one of the schools that I really like going to is Tactical Response. I live in Ohio, they're in Tennessee. In order to take a short-barreled rifle that I personally own to that class, like say if I'm taking a rifle course or something like that, those classes are very physical. I might want to use a shorter gun, and I use shorter guns for home defense. Why not take my home defense gun to the class, right? Makes sense. In order to do that, I have to ahead of time, and I'm not talking like a week ahead of time, I'm talking like months ahead of time, notify the government that I'm going to move that thing. And it's going to be gone for this amount of time. It's going to travel through these locales, et cetera, et cetera. It's absolutely ridiculous. Say I wanted to sell a short barrel rifle to my brother or something like that. I have to undergo that same process again, and so does he. He has to submit his fingerprints. He has to submit his headshot. He has to submit his duplicate forms. He has to notify the CLEO, et cetera, et cetera. We then have to wait, historically, months of time. It's gotten a little bit better with the electronic situation, but that's because the volume is not across the entire nation as far as like the millions of units that are held in private hands, as far as like pistols, shotguns, rifles, all that sort of stuff. We're talking about a subset of those. It still takes weeks to get that paperwork back, even though we've got a at least more sophisticated system that we have been using as far as e-forms is concerned than historically has been available. Collate how long it's going to take to do that kind of paperwork across all of the sales in the entire country for every type of weapon, well, then you get a bogged down process that's going to take years. And you think that that's hyperbole? No, I have waited years for Form 4s to come back. If you apply that standard to handguns, which is what they're referring to, a national gun registry on the most common items in the United States, well, then you're getting into numbers like that. And then you want to talk about what happened under like the government shutdown, where they basically released all those employees. None of that work was getting done. So your right to keep and bear arms is screeching halt under a national gun registry. What happens if you don't comply with that system and you're found out? Well, we have data for that one too. The government comes to your house to arrest you and shoot your dog, your son, your neighbors, your wife in the head while she's holding your infant child, and your recourse is to sue the government. And of course, the government agents that had anything to do with that specific incident at Ruby Ridge, tragic accident is what they said. That is the system that these folks would have you and everybody else who wants to have a firearm for self-defense or any other lawful purpose, peaceable purpose, wants you to undergo. That is the model. But, you know, we don't even have to actually stop there. And I'm going to give credit where credit is due on this one, too. The National Rifle Association. I have been very critical of the National Rifle Association for many years now, but they said it right. Think about your car registration. Does your car registration prevent you from using that car intoxicated? Does that vehicle registration keep you from using it to commit a crime? Does that vehicle registration protect everyone around you? No. Doesn't do any of those sort of things. What does your vehicle registration allow the government to do? Tax you for owning a car. It allows them to know where the car is going to be. It allows them to take the car from you if you do not behave in a particular way. If you violate something that they don't like that you're doing. And it's not much of a stretch to go from there to what the UK is doing right now, where people are literally going to jail for posting photos of themselves on social media shooting a shotgun, or for saying mean stuff on Facebook or something like that. People are literally going to jail. So, if you want to know what they actually mean when they say, well, we need more gun control, then you need look no further than the things that have already been done in the past, the things that are currently being done as we see them, and extrapolate those out to what the end game really looks like. Control. That's what I have for you today.